Imagine for a moment that you wake up tomorrow and discover that the sun has simply vanished. Earth, our blue home, has been violently ripped from its orbit and now drifts alone through the infinite darkness of space. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this is not only possible, but has already happened billions of times in our galaxy? There are entire worlds, some perhaps even larger than Jupiter, that have been ejected from their solar systems and now drift solitarily through the cosmos, condemned to perpetual night. These are rogue planets, and they are far more common than you might imagine. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most fascinating and, at the same time, unsettling phenomena in the universe. You'll discover how billions of worlds lost their parent stars, whether life is possible in these icy cosmic graveyards, and what would happen if Earth itself became one of these stellar refugees. Prepare for a journey that will completely change your perspective and what it means to have a home in the universe. Welcome, cosmic explorers. I'm your guide on this expedition to the frontiers of knowledge, and together we're building an incredible community of universe enthusiasts. We're steadily moving towards our first 1,000 explorers, and each one of you makes this journey even more special. To understand rogue planets, we first need to imagine the chaotic birth of a planetary system. When a young star emerges from a nebula, it's surrounded by a disk of gas and dust that gradually condenses to form planets. But this process is anything but tranquil. It's like a violent cosmic dance, where gravitational giants fight for position and dominance. Imagine a three-dimensional game of pool, where the balls are planets and the table is constantly shaking. Sometimes, when two giant planets get too close, their gravitational forces interact so intensely that one of them is literally thrown out of the system, like a pool ball flying off the table. This ejected planet becomes a rogue, forever losing its parent star. Scientists estimate that there are between 200 billion and 2 trillion rogue planets in the Milky Way alone. To put that into perspective, it means there may be more planets wandering alone through space than planets orbiting stars. It's like discovering there are more abandoned cars on the roads than cars with drivers. Astronomer Takahiro Sumi from Osaka University conducted one of the most important studies on these lost worlds, using a technique called gravitational microlensing, where the gravity of a distant object acts like a cosmic magnifying glass. His team detected evidence of planets freely floating in space. According to our current understanding, based on these observations, Jupiter-sized planets may be twice as common as rogues than as planets with parent stars. But here comes a question that might be rattling around in your head. How on earth can a planet survive without a star? After all, without the sun, Earth would be a block of ice in a matter of weeks, right? The answer lies within the planetary interior, and it's more fascinating than we imagine. Take Earth as an example. Our planet generates its own heat through the radioactive decay of elements like uranium and thorium in its core. This internal heat is what keeps our core molten and creates the magnetic field that protects us. In rogue planets, especially larger ones, this internal heat can be enough to maintain liquid oceans beneath an ice crust, similar to what we see on moons like Europa and Imagine a rogue planet like a house without external heating, but with a perpetually lit fireplace in the basement. The surface might be frozen hundreds of degrees below zero, but in the depths, life could find refuge. It's like those zombie apocalypse movies where survivors take shelter in underground bunkers. Except here, life would have billions of years to adapt. The concept is so intriguing that some scientists speculate whether rogue planets could even be better for life than planets with stars. Think about it. No star bombarding radiation, no solar flares destroying atmospheres, no extreme climate variations. A rogue planet offers a stable environment for billions of years, where life could evolve in oceans protected by miles of ice. But let's talk about something that truly stirs our imagination. What if Earth became a rogue planet? The most likely scenario would be during the Milky Way's encounter with the Andromeda galaxy, approximately 4.5 billion years from now. During this chaotic galactic dance, our solar system could be disturbed in such a way that Earth would be ejected into intergalactic space. In the first days after losing the sun, the surface temperature would plummet rapidly. In a week, the global average temperature would be -73 degrees Celsius. In a month, -78 degrees. In a year, it would reach a terrifying -273 degrees Celsius, absolute zero. the atmosphere would begin to liquefy and eventually freeze, creating a layer of nitrogen and oxygen snow on the surface. But here's the most impressive part. Life wouldn't necessarily end. The oceans, protected by a thick layer of ice, could remain liquid for millions or even billions of years, warmed by the residual heat from Earth's core. Creatures living near hydrothermal vents on the seafloor, which already survive without sunlight, would continue their lives as if nothing had happened. It's a prospect that is both terrifying and fascinating. Humanity on the surface would have only a few weeks to find refuge in underground shelters or perhaps in space stations. But Earth as an ecosystem could continue to exist, wandering solitarily through the voids between galaxies. David Bennett, from the University of Notre Dame, one of the pioneers in detecting rogue planets, described these worlds as the nomads of the universe. And this analogy is perfect. Just as human nomads carry their culture and knowledge across arid landscapes, rogue planets can carry life through the vastness of intergalactic space. Recently, scientists have discovered evidence that some rogue planets can retain dense atmospheres. Imagine this, a lost world in space, but with an atmosphere thick enough to create a greenhouse effect that keeps the surface relatively warm. It's like a cosmic blanket protecting the planet from the deadly cold of space. NASA's Kepler mission and, more recently, the James Webb Space Telescope are revolutionizing our ability to detect these phantom worlds. Webb, with its infrared sensitivity, can potentially detect the residual heat of young rogue planets, those that were recently ejected and still retain some of their formation heat. One of the most intriguing discoveries in recent years was PSOJ 318.5-22, a rogue planet located just 80 light-years from Earth, with about 6 times the mass of Jupiter. It's only 12 million years old, a baby in planetary terms. What makes this discovery special is that we can study it directly, without the blinding light of a star hindering our observations. But perhaps the most profound aspect of rogue planets is what they teach us about the very nature of life in the universe. If life can exist on worlds completely disconnected from stars, this dramatically expands the possibilities of cosmic habitability. We would no longer need to search only in the habitable zone. Around stars, the entire universe becomes a potentially habitable zone. Imagine the implications for our search for extraterrestrial life. Instead of focusing only on exoplanets orbiting stars, perhaps we should be looking for signs of life on rogue planets. Civilizations that evolved on these worlds would develop completely different technologies than ours, based on geothermal heat instead of solar energy, living in underground oceans instead of exposed surfaces. Some scientists speculate that rogue planets could even be superior for the development of advanced civilizations, without the risk of solar flares, without asteroids being disturbed by a nearby star. These worlds would offer a stable environment for billions of years. A rogue civilization would have all the time in the universe to evolve and develop. And here we come to one of the most fascinating questions. Would a civilization on a rogue planet know that there's a universe full of stars out there? For them, the cosmos would be absolute darkness, with no luminous reference points. It would be like living in a cosmic cave, without suspecting that there's an illuminated world beyond the walls. Recapping our journey through the lost worlds of the universe, we discovered that billions of planets wander solitarily through the galaxy, ejected from their home systems by violent gravitational interactions. We learned that these cosmic refugees can sustain life in underground oceans warmed by internal heat, and that Earth itself could one day join this silent procession of rogue worlds. Even more impressively, we've seen that these planets can expand our definition of cosmic habitability far beyond the zones around stars. Rogue planets remind us that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than our terrestrial experience allows us to imagine. They are silent witnesses to the violence that shaped our cosmos, but they also represent life's incredible resilience in the face of cosmic adversity. In a universe where entire worlds can be ripped from home and forced to wander for eternity, the existence of any life, including our own, becomes even more precious and improbable. When we look at the night sky, we see bright stars and their planetary families. But now we know that in the vast dark regions between these lights, entire worlds drift in silence, perhaps carrying whole oceans of possibilities. They make us question, what does it truly mean to have a home in the universe? And is it possible that somewhere in the cosmic darkness, a rogue civilization is looking at its empty sky and wondering if it's alone? Cosmic explorers, let me know in the comments. If you could send a message to a civilization living on a rogue planet, what would you say? And imagine, if Earth became a rogue tomorrow, what would you miss most? The light of the sun, or simply knowing that we have a star to call home? Speaking of exploration, you've been amazing suggesting fascinating topics for our next videos. What mystery of the universe do you want me to talk about in the next episode? Primordial black holes, dark matter, or perhaps something completely different? Leave your suggestions in the comments and let's continue this journey together. We're on an incredible expedition towards our first 1,000 cosmic explorers, and each one of you makes this community more special. If this deep dive into rogue worlds expanded your horizons on what's possible in the universe, join our crew by clicking subscribe. Like this video if it sparked your curiosity about these cosmic refugees, and share it with someone who is also fascinated by the mysteries of space. In the next episode, we'll explore another phenomenon that challenges our understanding of the cosmos. Stay tuned, because the universe still has much to teach us. Until then, keep looking at the stars, but also remember the lost worlds that silently wander in the darkness between them.